When you're an insurance producer, one of the hardest things to make a judgment call about is knowing when to walk away from an opportunity. And so this video is a story about not how I won an account. It's actually a deal that I lost. But what I did do was I didn't burn a lot of time in the situation. I did get to the core of their buying principles and I kept the door open for future years. So let me tell that story so you can take those principles and apply it to your life. Let's get into it. Okay, so this organization was a painting contractor, and I got in the front door with a cold call. I managed to call the office manager at just the right time. She said, "Oh, yeah, I'm putting together a packet of information to send it out. Let's go ahead and talk." I said, "Great, let's set 15 minutes, and I'm going to talk to you about how to get the best deal from the marketplace." So the meeting comes up and she gets on the phone, and what she is accustomed to is putting together a packet of information, giving it to a broker or somebody, and then they come back with a number and then they decide who they want to go with based off of that number. And what I suggested to her, what I was asking her questions about is, what if there's a better way? What if you worked with one person that went and got multiple numbers and then helped you with making a business decision? Well, the first time I talked to her, she was just confused what we were talking about. She was so accustomed to the idea that you talk to an insurance person, they come back with a number that the whole first conversation frustrated her. She said, "I don't have time to learn a new way of doing things. I've been doing it a long way. We're just going to keep doing it this way." Okay. So the first conversation, it didn't go anywhere. Well, I was out and about one day and I decided to just drop into her office and see if I could get anywhere further. And at first, she didn't even remember who I was. And then it came back to her and she said, "Oh, we tried using a broker for our health insurance once and it just didn't go well. We got a bad taste in our mouth." And I understood that feeling, that situation. But I said, "Well, let's not let that one person influence how you make every decision. I mean, how do you want this process to go for when you're shopping for your liability and work comp insurance? Would you prefer to have one person that you could go through that can help you make a business decision, or do you just want to keep doing this?" And what came out is that they were buying insurance straight from the insurance company. And so when they wanted to get multiple options, the only way was to put together the packet of information and send it out to multiple people to get quotes. And I asked, "Well, how do you know you're getting the best deal there?" Well, and the answer is the only way to do it is to send it out and get quotes. Well, what about 3 to 5 years from now? What's it going to look like then? How do you want it to work? I mean, and the answer is, well, we'd have to put the packet together and send it out to get quotes. I said, what if there's a better way? That you had a system in place where you worked through one broker that was going to bring back multiple options and show you what they looked like so you can make a business decision. And then tactically, every 3 to 5 years, you go out and do the same thing so that you know you are consistently getting the best deal in the marketplace. As she looked at the stack of paperwork on her desk, she said, "So I could just stop putting this back? I could stop putting this packet together?" I said, "Yeah, that's right." "Well, I'm done with this. I've had heart surgery recently. I don't want to mess with this. Sounds great to me." I said, "Okay. So what are the next steps?" "Well, you got to talk to the owner." "Great." So she gives me the contact information for the owner. I have identified some core pains with the office manager, and now she would like to do it, but I have I haven't had a conversation with the businessman with the owner yet. So I leave him a couple voicemails. I send him a text. I don't hear back from him, and I call the office manager, and he's sitting in the room, and she says, we talked about it. We don't want to work through a broker, so we're just going to keep doing what we're doing." End of call. I was pretty put off at that moment because I had thought I had a deal. I thought it was one. And I kept thinking, what'd I do wrong? And the answer is I didn't do anything wrong. I pried the door open. I identified pains with the office manager. What I identified was that the owner had a philosophy on how he wanted to buy insurance that was running totally counter to the way that I run my business and the solutions that I present, which means he was never going to buy from me. And let's say I did compromise. Let's say I did say, okay, well, I'll go to these 6 companies and I'll bring back a number and show you what it looks like. Well, in that situation, maybe it works the first year. Maybe I do get the deal. But what about year 2? What about year 3? What do they do when they have an audit problem? What do they do when their prices go up? Well, they're going to put the packet of information together and they're going to go back out to market. Is that the customer I want over the long term? So, no, I did not win the customer. This is not a video about how I grew my book of business by acquiring a new client. This is a story about how I saved time by not doing what they were asking me to do because it goes contrary to the unique solution that I would have presented in my presentation. Now, there's a lot of things in this video that I skimmed over, like how did I get that first call? How did I get a list of prospects? And I've got videos about how to build a list and what you should say in a cold call and what does a qualifying conversation look like. I encourage you to check all those out. They are in the playlist How to Be a Commercial Insurance Producer. But if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. It helps other people like you find the content. If you got questions about it, please drop it in the comments. I look at everything, I respond to everything. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please go build something great.